everyone, my name is Jenessa Flores Parker and I'm a Pitzer College alumna, class of 2010, and I am currently the site manager here at our Jumpstart program here at the Claremont Colleges.
My name is Maddy Towbin. I am a third-year senior at Pitzer College, and I have worked at Jumpstart all 3 years of college. And we are here with the Pitzer Alumni Association, Facebook Live, Instagram Live, to talk about what the Jumpstart program is, both of our roles in it, and just kind of to let people know what we do. We will talk a little bit about both of our experiences, and then at the end we will be answering any questions that people comment on the Facebook Live video or Instagram Live. So drop some interesting questions for us and we'll get to them. Jenessa is going to start talking about what led her to Jumpstart and what she does with the program.
So a little bit of background. As a student, when I attended Pitzer, I had always seen the Jumpstart shirts. I would see people walking around, but I never actually knew what Jumpstart was. And actually, after I had graduated, I had the opportunity. I actually had many different roles here at Pitzer College. I worked in advancement, I worked in career services, and I was also the urban fellow for CEC for 2 years. And when the opportunity to work for Jumpstart came up, I was able to be in a space that I felt was a really positive move for me, but also, you know, just being an alumna and why I came to Pitzer, and being, you know, one of the core values that meant the most to me was social responsibility. And working in Jumpstart, I felt like this was like the perfect opportunity for me to look out for the generations that are coming up after us. And so my role as a site manager, I not only get to work with amazing, incredible college students like Maddy, but we work with over 120 preschoolers in our local area and under-resourced communities. So it's a really unique program that you know, I wasn't even aware of as a student, and I found out after I had actually graduated. So, and I feel like many people, when they come into Jumpstart, they, like I said, they have heard the name, but they don't actually know what we do and how much of an impact that our students are making in our local community. So I think it's a really powerful program and probably one of the most unique because of the fact that, like, a lot of our students aren't from this area, but while they're here, on top of managing their academic schedules, their social life, and everything else, they're giving back directly to their communities and to these beautiful children that end up changing them more than they had ever could have imagined when they started. So.
Yeah, definitely. I always say that, like, Jumpstart is the best thing that I've done in college. I think it's the best decision that I've made. I decided to join Jumpstart at Pitzer my freshman year, and I learned about it when I was on orientation adventure, beach camping, and my OA leader had told me that he worked at Jumpstart and they worked in preschools. And when I was in high school, I worked with preschoolers. I volunteered, and I worked as a religious school preschool teacher, and it was something that I was really I really had a hard time leaving. And so to learn that this was something that I could continue in college and also continue as a work-study job, I was definitely hooked. I remember being so excited going into my interview and just being like, this is what I want to be doing in college. And it's really been as amazing as I hoped it would be. And my role as a Jumpstart core member, which is what I did my first year starting out, is to work on a team, usually between 4 and 7 people. And twice a week we go into a local preschool. Mainly we work in Upland. We have a site in Montclair, and we go and we kind of take over for the teachers for the morning or the afternoon. The biggest thing that all Jumpstart teams do is to read the Jumpstart books. So we'll split into reading groups, which I think is so significant because for these children, for any preschool, it's very rare to have one adult with just a small number of kids. Our classrooms have 16 kids and 2 teachers, and when my team comes in and we bring in 5 more adults or 7 more adults, we can really break down those ratios from 1 teacher to 8 students to 1 teacher to 2 or 3 students, and that's huge. So we read books with them. We sing songs, we have our circle time, we do activities, we do center time, and then we also help out with the classroom when they're going through kind of their normal daily activities. So we'll go outside with the kids, we lead snack time. My team, that's, in the afternoon we're having snack time. And we do this twice a week. And I think that when it was introduced to me, it was that Jumpstart is one of the higher commitment work studies on campus. And I've come to learn that that is definitely true. When we hear work study, we tend to think of jobs where you're sitting in an office and you literally can study while you work, and that's not what Jumpstart is. We really put our all into this job. Our students work 10 to 15 hours a week with Jumpstart, 8 hours in the classroom, and then a lot of time is spent planning. So our Jumpstart core members have to really, really care about what they're doing. We get to work with the National Jumpstart curriculum, which is a huge benefit because as somebody who's taught preschool before, planning classes is one of the very most difficult things. So I'm grateful for that. But I am even more grateful that our specific Jumpstart program at Pitzer encourages our core members to be more creative with our curriculum. We can really take things into the classroom that we want to be there for our unique students' experience. And when I first started at Jumpstart, the curriculum was very academic. It's very, rigid for 3 to 5 year olds. And we're very focused on getting them to write their names and to learn how to read. And over time, the national curriculum has come to focus more on social emotional development, which is much more age appropriate for 3 to 5 year olds to learn to name their emotions and to acknowledge them and to learn how to be good friends and caring people, which I think is, the most important thing that we can teach young kids is how to be compassionate and curious people. But the Claremont Colleges chapter of Jumpstart has really been doing those things all along. I think we've been really leading the national program in the right direction for the past couple years. And one of the things that we do especially is to encourage our Spanish-speaking students more so than the national program of Jumpstart does. In my class, every week we do Spanish time, and I think this is where, like Jenessa was talking about, the social responsibility core value of Pitzer really comes in, is that we can acknowledge that all of our students come from backgrounds that we may never understand. And their home lives may look very different from the lives that we grew up in. And it's a small thing to bring Spanish into the classroom for our Spanish and our English speaking students, but to really encourage that and to make it normal to speak Spanish in the classroom is a huge thing to make students who speak Spanish at home feel more comfortable with us and in the classroom environment. So I think that's kind of how Jumpstart is unique at Pitzer. We really bring the social responsibility aspect into the classroom with us. And I think that's huge. I have worked at preschools in higher income areas with a lot more resources, and the differences between students' performance is huge. And I honestly believe that the students that we work with really, really benefit from us being there, from having this individualized attention, from having people sit down and read books with them, from having people say, tell me how you're doing, how was your day, I really care and I want to hear it, and I'll just play with you. And I think that is huge. I think Jumpstart is good for that on a national level, and we do a good job of that on the level of here at at Pitzer and here in Claremont. Yeah. Do you have anything else to add? Any questions for me or?
Yeah, a couple of questions, but I just also wanted to mention, like, I think a really important component too is, like, not only are we providing a space that is safe for these children to be excited to learn and to want to go to school, especially when you're 3, because some days that, Maddy will show up in her classroom and there will be a child who just turned 3 the day before. They're in a brand new environment. It's scary. It's overwhelming. And our students, like, that's the thing that I always like reiterate to them throughout the years, like, make them feel comfortable, become their friend. Of course, we want them to learn and we want to do all of our Jumpstart activities, but what more of an encouraging space, what does a child need that's going to help them to just acclimate to their new environments, and then also, be excited to learn. And so what I love about our students is not only, they're working individually with their class, but they're also on a team. We're a consortium organization. So while we are housed here at Pitzer, we have students from Scripps, from Claremont McKenna, from Pomona. Haven't had a mutter yet. That's my goal before I leave one day as a site manager. But they're all students from different disciplines, and the way that they all end up on a team and how they work together, that's one of my favorite things, because they they do start out, most of them, as strangers, and just like them working together to meet the needs of the kids in their classroom it makes me so proud that, like, they care as much as they do. They do 300 hours, like Maddy said, a year. They're required to do that. So they're actually doing more in Jumpstart than you would actually, more than I ever did taking a class here at Pitzer and what was expected. And on top of that, they have to complete trainings as far as, like, being prepared to be in the classroom. And then, the team leaders really guide. So for me, my goal is to make sure that, the people that are leading these students in the classroom, have so much to offer, but then, they're also kind of setting the tone and the pace for the classroom. So they have I have 150% faith in every single team leader that I have, knowing that they're going to make the best decisions to, make sure that the kids are getting everything that they deserve. And, just because they are living in a particular zip code, and these are communities that I grew up in. So that's why this program is really important to me, and why, they've seen me get emotional. They've seen me in spaces where it's like, I'm just really proud, not only of them, but just to be able to say that I'm a part of this program. And I feel that, one day when my time to move on, happens, like, that I did a good thing, and that I I was able to do everything why I came to Pitzer in my everyday life. And then seeing them grow, like Maddy said, she's been with me since day one. I remember the day she came in for her interview, and I think I might have told her then and there, like, you're going to be a team leader. Like, I just knew right away that she was someone that I knew would be great for our program, but also great to interact with other students at the Claremont Colleges, and then, more importantly, the kids in our classrooms each year. So on that note, like, what has kept you coming back year after year after year?
100% the students that I work with, the kids that I get to work with, just makes such a big impact on me. Jenessa kind of mentioned that Jumpstart is something that kind of exists like off campus. It's a work study job that really puts us into the community and connects us with the world around us in these neighborhoods. And we joke around on campus about the Claremont bubble, and Jumpstart students especially like to acknowledge that, like, that feels real a lot of the time, that we're used to seeing students our own age. We're used to being around people who look like us. And so it's so important that we get into the community and we work with these students who really live here. And these are our lives. They're not just existing on campus and eating at the dining hall every day. And so these kids, they bring an aspect of reality back to college. They remind us why we're here to get an education and who we're doing it for. That while we're here and we are privileged to have this higher education and to earn a degree, we can use these skills and this knowledge that we're gaining to truly help people. And these are the kids that remind me, who I'm doing it for. And every Tuesday and Thursday, it just makes my day to walk into this classroom, and every day we open the door and all the kids are sitting there eating lunch, and we open the door and they go, Jumpstart! Today I was like, I love that. Like they do it every day, Jumpstart! They think all of our names are Jumpstart.
We're all Jumpstart.
Yeah. One of my students today, a Jumpstart member was coloring with her, and the Jumpstart member stood up, and another kid tried to take the seat, and she was like, Jumpstart was sitting there. Like, you can't sit there. So, yeah, these kids, they continually make my day. They have so much love to give. They're so funny. They're so adorable. Absolutely, I would keep going back over and over. I'm sad to be graduating and not be able to keep going back.
Yeah. Another thing too, that's another beautiful thing about our program is our students are with these children from as soon as you all arrive on campus. Like we're hiring, I've got everyone set. They're in the classroom with these kids from, end of September all the way through May. So our students actually get to see the progression of the child as they start preschool to the very end. And I also think it's really amazing because, these preschoolers are in a new environment, in a new learning space, and so are the college students. So like they're here at college, they're away from home, they're in these, meeting new friends and, meeting new people, and so are these preschoolers. And then they end up becoming really good friends. And I tell my students always at the beginning of the year, I can guarantee you when you say goodbye, like you're gonna cry, there's gonna be tears, like there's gonna be a lot of emotion. So just know that going into this program, it's not just something that you can just gonna show up, hang out with some kids. It's like they become a huge part of their lives. I mean, every team has their own group chat where they talk about like what happened, or they talk about funny things, and then we share the things, because kids are hilarious.
Oh yeah.
And so I think that that's so special that they're able to stay with these kids, for that amount of time. And that's something too that I feel that people weren't aware of, that the Jumpstart students do. Like it's not, and initially I do have students that come in and, they'll say, I like kids, or I have a baby brother or sister and I miss them, but then they get in the classroom and they're like, what's happening? Like they don't realize like we're actually, you are a teacher and you're in charge, and this is, our Jumpstart curriculum. But also, another key thing, especially when you're working in, under-resourced communities where they may not have access, or they're not having these conversations about college. Like that's a really big thing, because we've had events where we've invited the children to campus, and the kids are like, their minds are blown, because they'll say, oh, well, where does your mommy and daddy live? And then the Jumpstart students will say, well, they don't live here. And then the little kids are like, what? Like they have no idea, like they're in college and there's no parents, and just that whole concept of them being in this space is really funny to hear the children's perspective. And then also having them here. How many opportunities do you have where you're bringing preschoolers to a college environment and then talking to them about college, and then also, for myself, like that was something that I didn't even know, or it was not on the table, college, just because of my own personal family dynamic. It wasn't until later that I had the opportunity to come to Pitzer. So I hear children talking like, I want to go to college, I want to go to Pitzer, and so that's really something unique to hear from a 3, 4, and 5-year-old. So
Definitely. We will answer live Instagram and Facebook questions. I'll just say one more quick thing before we do. So post questions if you have them, please. We want to hear them. I just want to comment on Jenessa's mentioning that these kids really do stay with us. My first year of Jumpstart, I got very close with one student who, when I first started working at Easter Seals at our site, he didn't talk. He didn't look at anybody. He was just very removed. He wouldn't participate in circle time. He really sat off by himself. And I just kind of latched onto him, and I would sit with him and play while other people were doing things. And throughout the progression of the year, like we would read together, and he had a really hard time paying attention, and he would grab things out of my book, and then slowly, he started, like, I would walk in the classroom and he would have saved a seat for me, and that was where I sat. And he would start to participate in circle time, but only if, like, he could hold my hand. And he started to talk a little bit more and more, and he really, by the end of the year, was was a student who was really involved in the class. And I remember on our last day, the teacher saying that type of thing doesn't normally happen without this one-on-one attention that we are able to give through Jumpstart. So it's a huge thing that will stay with me forever. And I think about these students a lot. They've made a big impact on my life. So I hope that for anybody watching along live or for watching this later at home, that you've gotten to learn a little bit about what it is that we do at Jumpstart and to start to understand the impact that it has on our students on campus and our students in the preschools. So yeah, I'll take a look at any questions and see. Oh no, I'm watching myself speak. Okay. Taylor said, "What has been the most impactful part of Jumpstart for you?" Do you have any?
I tell people all the time, I can talk about Jumpstart and how much of a privilege it is to work as a site manager, just because, like I said, every year I think, this is a great group of students and I'm going to be heartbroken, and then there's not going to be a year that's going to be better than the one I just had. And it's like, since I've been here, it's just gotten even better because the connections that I've made with the students, the team leaders, like we've created our own community, and it definitely feels like a family because they spend so much time together. I spend so much time with the team leaders and just seeing them evolve over the course of a year. So just watching students, especially like I said, when they come in on the first day for their interview, not really knowing what to expect, and then having conversations with them throughout the year. And at the very end, how much they've changed, because there's no education major here at Pitzer College, and how many students Jumpstart actually changes their education or their, what they want to do once they graduate. And the ones who don't go on to be teachers, like they're very aware and more mindful of the issues, especially when it comes to early childhood education, and especially working with under-resourced communities. Like they're paying attention, they're advocating, and also being able to stay in contact with so many of my students. Like that makes, I can't even tell you, like I'll just be having a regular day and then students from 6 years ago will call me or text me because they got a job teaching in San Francisco, or they're in San Jose, or they're working on policy in Washington DC, and it's like it makes me feel really proud that I had like this much a part of them changing, or even just like I said, just staying active and not saying like, okay, I was in Jumpstart and I'm going to go about my life. Like they're consciously thinking of their futures, and like maybe one day if they choose to have children, like what that could look like for them. And so to me, that's been one of the most rewarding things.
Yeah, just like Jenessa said, it's meaningful to her to see us grow in the program. The most meaningful thing for me is to watch my students grow in Jumpstart, and to watch a child write their name for the first time and know that you taught them that, and that a couple of months ago they couldn't even connect dots and trace their own name. This happened today. I have had one student for 2 years of Jumpstart, and he is one of the kindest, funniest kids that I've ever worked with. He's got such a great sense of humor, and for so long he refused to write his name. And he would just scribble instead, and he would make a scribble and say, "There, I did it, I wrote my name." And today I watched him trace out his entire name, and knowing that he can do that, I feel so much more confident sending him on to kindergarten. And it's really this, it's his accomplishment, but there's a big sense of accomplishment for us too in doing that, and knowing that this is something really tangible that we can see that we helped our kids learn. So I think that's pretty great. This question says, how can people get involved in Jumpstart if they want to?
Well, I'm going to be sending out a student talk email because we just got our 2019-2020 applications. But definitely always reach out to me. My students know, and even students, from the past, like my door is always open, especially being a Pitzer alum and knowing what life was like as a student. I feel like I have, I have, like I said, an open door policy, but just knowing that you can come and talk to me for any reason, but also just send me an email if you have questions, reach out to any current Jumpstart students, because I feel that they're the ones that are going to have, the best advice or, real life scenarios and situations of what Jumpstart looks like as a student. So yeah, definitely you can always connect online, email, multiple ways.
Great. And then I will take one last question, and it was, how do you feel that you have grown or matured through working with Jumpstart? And wow, I should have thought this through more before I answered it. I think that Jumpstart has really changed how I am as a leader. It's something that I've always been confident in as an ability of mine personally. And I remember coming into Jumpstart and really, really wanting to be a team leader and wanting to be at the front of the classroom because I felt that I would really know how to do it well, and I would do really well at being in control. And this is my second year being a team leader, and I've really started to learn how to lead alongside other people, to not always have to be in front of the classroom to be leading. It's been a really cool thing to be able to rely on my team members to help me in my responsibilities as a team leader. And it's really, really cool, honestly, to ask them to lead an activity in center time that normally like a team leader would only ever do. And to watch them lead it and to kind of watch them like maybe take on my mannerisms or teach it the way that I would, but also add their own unique style into it, and to really learn that like people really bring their own thing to Jumpstart, and that is that's really special. So I think that's me personally. I've grown as a leader in that way. I've learned how to lead with my team, not just like for them. Do you have anything?
I feel like each opportunity that I have to work with Jumpstart core members and team leaders and getting to know the children, like I just become a more well-rounded human being. I learn from them. They teach me stuff, and they make me want to have them be excited to be there, and to know that the work that they're doing is so, they're making such an impact. And like Maddy said, you don't see it. It's a progression, so you don't have results right away, but just like being able to, grow with them as they're having these, we're having like a real shared experience along this journey. So it's super fun. And yeah, like I said, Jumpstart is a wonderful program, and you should definitely check us out.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much to everybody watching along. I hope that you enjoyed hearing about Jumpstart, because it's a pretty cool thing. Thanks.
Thank you.